Chapter 2, the Heifer, page 120. Believers, when you contract a debt for a stated term, put it down in writing. Have a scribe write it down with fairness between you. No scribe should refuse to write. Let him write as God has taught him. Let the debtor dictate, and let him fear God his Lord, and not diminish the debt at all. If the debtor is weak in mind or body, or unable to dictate, then in fairness let his guardian dictate for him. Call in 2 of your men as witnesses. But if 2 men cannot be found, then call 1 man and 2 women out of those you approve of as witnesses, so that if one of the 2 women should forget, the other can remind her. Let the witnesses not refuse when they are summoned. Do not be disinclined to write down your debts, be they small or large, together with the date of payment. This is more just in the sight of God. It is more reliable as testimony, and more likely to prevent doubts arising between you. Unless it be ready merchandise which you give or take from hand to hand, then it will not be held against you for not writing it down. Have witnesses present whenever you trade with one another, and let no harm be done to either scribe or witness, for if you did cause them harm, it would be a crime on your part. Be mindful of God. He teaches you. He has full knowledge of everything. Commentary by Maulana Wahiduddin Khan. Where there is a cash transaction between 2 parties, the matter ends there itself. But contracting a debt is a different matter. In such a case, if the transaction is purely verbal, there is a possibility of differences arising due to the absence of written proof. Either party will present the matter according to his own perceptions, for there is no clear or absolute basis on which a proper decision may be arrived at. As a result, differences and complaints arise between the 2 parties at the time of payment. The only solution is to write down the particulars of the loan and then have witnesses testify to it. If any differences arise, this document would become the basis for a final decision. For a believer, this would be a strategic safeguard based on taqwa and justice. In abiding by the written conditions and making a proper payment of dues, he acquits himself before the people and before God. Believers are witnesses of God's religion. Just as they are not allowed to knowingly hide anything from God, they should similarly never conceal any evidence they may possess. Concealing evidence is to nurture a criminal mentality and to shirk the role they can play in making just decisions. Man's conscience demands that the truth should be acknowledged and untruth should be proclaimed to be such. In matters of justice, one who withholds evidence for the sake of prestige or some other worldly considerations is like a criminal who becomes a witness to his own crime. Chapter 2, the Heifer, page 121. If you are on a journey and do not find any literate person, something should be handed over as security. If one of you entrusts another with something, let the trustee restore the pledge to its owner, and let him fear God his Lord. Do not conceal testimony. If someone does conceal it, in his heart he commits a crime. God knows what you do. Chapter 2, the Heifer, page 122. All that the heavens and the earth contain belongs to God, whether you disclose what is in your minds or keep it hidden. God will bring you to account for it. He will forgive whom he will and punish whom he pleases. He has power over all things. The messenger believes in what has been sent down to him from his Lord, and so do believers. They all believe in God and his angels, his scriptures, and his messengers. They say, "We do not differentiate between any of his messengers. We hear and obey. Grant us your forgiveness, Lord. To you we shall all return." Commentary by Maulana Wahiduddin Khan. Everything in the universe is under God's command. Right from dust particles to the stars, all are bound by God's decreed plan. They must follow the path set for them by God. Man alone is the creature who finds that he may choose different paths of his own free will. But man does not possess freedom in an absolute sense. If he has freedom, it is so that he may be put to the test. Man has also to submit to the will of God like the rest of the universe. The life of restraint that the rest of the universe is obliged to follow must be followed voluntarily by man. He should not be deceived by the appearance of there being no one before or behind him. The truth of the matter is that at all times man is watched over by the Lord of the universe. He watches each and everything, whether great or small, whether within him or without. Chapter 2, the Heifer, page 123. God does not charge a soul with more than it can bear. It shall be requited for whatever good and whatever evil it has done. They pray, Our Lord, do not take us to task if we forget or make a mistake. Our Lord, do not place on us a burden like the one you placed on those before us. Our Lord, do not place on us a burden we have not the strength to bear. Pardon us and forgive us and have mercy on us. You are our Lord and Sustainer, so help us against those who deny the truth. Commentary by Maulana Wahiduddin Khan. Who is that man who measures up to the standards of the Almighty? He is one who is a man of faith, who submits and obeys. Faith means a conscious surrender to God, while obedience means practical surrender. For this to become a reality, man must enshrine God within himself as his creator and sustainer. He must be one to discover the reality that the system of the universe is not soulless or mechanical. Rather, it is a live system, which is run by God's devoted workers. He must be one to recognize those servants of God chosen by him to communicate this message to mankind. The book revealed by God for the guidance of mankind must be accepted by him and become a part of his thoughts in the real sense. When faith in God, his angels, his books, and his messengers is firmly rooted in his heart and mind, he wholeheartedly surrenders himself to treading the path shown by God. This faith and obedience should not be a matter of rituals or just an outward show. Rather, faith and obedience should be so inseparable from his soul that he starts to remember God at all times, and his whole life becomes entirely dependent on God.